The Baltimore Ravens. I'm gonna ask this question: Are the Ravens the most disappointing team in the NFL this year?
Yes, they are. The Ravens are by far and away, and I understand the Chiefs are a disappointment, but
That's where I was gonna go.
the
Go ahead.
Chiefs roster coming into this year, especially when you look at how the Chiefs got absolutely annihilated in the Super Bowl, right? There is a Super Bowl. The team that loses a Super Bowl, there's always a Super Bowl hangover. And on top of that, you came into this year knowing you had an aging roster. There were holes all over the place with the Chiefs. This was, on paper, the Ravens were Super Bowl favorites coming into the year over the Chiefs. They were the Super Bowl favorites. You've got a healthy team. You've got all these pieces around them. They're going to run it back. It's going to be their time. The Bills are still dealing with their trying to figure themselves out, and this was their year. And this version of the Ravens is hard to watch, Keith. I listened to John Harbaugh, who I have so much respect for, answer the questions about why Derrick Henry was not in the game at the end of the fourth quarter. And you see him, and he's next to Lamar in a jacket, and I thought he was hurt because I couldn't
Mhm.
understand what was going on. And the answers to the questions were bizarre. And this feels like they called it the supernatural funk a year ago with or 2 years ago with the Philadelphia Eagles. It feels like the Ravens have the supernatural funk. Whatever is going on over there, it has been each week, Lamar has a different injury. It's a toe, it's a hamstring, it's he's got the flu. I mean, literally, if you look at the injury report for 7 straight weeks, he's got a different thing on the injury report. And that's just bad luck in tandem with, I can't explain the Mark Andrews, whatever he was trying to do in that game, half lateral, that pass, backward. I mean, it's just, they're doing some uncharacteristic bad things for the Ravens. And that's the part that's very confusing is I understand why Ravens fans want to see changes happen because at this point, I've defended Harbaugh about as long as I can, and I can't quite figure out what's going wrong with them.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with this. The most disappointing team, in my opinion, is the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's gonna be one stark difference of why. Lamar Jackson missed significant chunk of this season,
For
right?
sure.
Like it was about 4, 5, 6 games where he was out, and I think, and you mentioned this, and I didn't buy into it initially, but I'm gonna say, and there's maybe one of the few times, right? I'm gonna say you were right. Was
Oh,
that
boy.
Lamar Jackson is hurt?
Yep.
Lamar Jackson was hurt. He's still hurt, right?
He's
And they
still
brought
hurt.
up the statistics of on the read option plays, he's only keeping it, I think, 25% of the times compared to the
Yeah.
past years when he's read the read option. He's injured. And
Yeah.
so he was injured and missed 4 or 5 games, right? Which, if they split that down the middle and win 3 games, they're probably back leading the AFC North,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then even right now, he's a shell of himself. And it's the threshold of, is he better than the backup quarterback? Is an injured Lamar Jackson better than the backup quarterback? And I think that's the spot that they put themselves in because we
Yeah.
know the superstar that Lamar Jackson is. But when he is basically hindered, right? Like his hamstring, toe, whatever it may be, is not healthy, and he's not himself. So that's why I say that the Kansas City Chiefs, because Patrick Mahomes has been healthy.
Yeah. For
You
sure.
and you've seen all of the same things with this team. And when I look at him, it seems hapless, right? Where they just don't have an answer, right? It's not even them shooting themselves in the foot. It seems like they don't have the talent, right? Like
Yeah.
if I'm going into the offseason, I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I'm saying, let's just get the hell out of our own way, right?
Yeah.
If I'm going into the offseason and I'm a Kansas City Chiefs, I need a big whiteboard, right? I need a big whiteboard because I'm evaluating this roster and I'm saying Rasheed Rice is dropping passes. I'm
Yeah.
saying Travis Kelsey is old. I'm saying Xavier Worthy is injured. Marquise Brown is injured, right? And I mentioned the running back situation already. So I look at the Kansas City Chiefs and I say this is disappointing because Patrick Mahomes has been healthy. And this is the roster that y'all ran out. And it's just not good enough at all on all different facets.
So here's why all the reasons you listed is why I guess I'm more disappointed in the Ravens because the
Because they have the
talent,
talent.
yeah, they
Yeah.
have the talent. The Chiefs, we knew on paper that Travis Kelsey was old. We knew that this wide receiver core wasn't that good. We knew Rasheed
Well,
Rice was going to miss 6 games. We
so
knew that this defense was aging. Like, I knew that this Chiefs team on paper because last season they struggled to win games. And
mhm.
that's why on top of this and also there were moments this year still where the Chiefs felt like, "Oh man, they could still do it." I never felt this year with the Ravens they could do it. They have not had a complete they have not looked good the whole year. They just haven't. Even if
Well,
you
and I
think back
think
to the
because
first game, that Buffalo Bills game to
yeah,
open the
well, yeah,
year.
and you're right about that one, and that was them blatantly shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
But like I said, I think the Lamar Jackson injury is going understated. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs, from a headline standpoint, right, they'll be able to
of
go back
course.
and headline this and say this was the Patrick Mahomes ACL year,
Yep.
right? That's why we didn't
Tom
make the
Brady,
playoffs.
ninth year. They're going to make all the
There we go,
comps.
right? Lamar Jackson, because it isn't a significant injury, I don't think people are going to remember this year as though, right? They're not going to say the Lamar Jackson hamstring injury, right? Because it's
Yeah.
not a season-ending
No,
injury. It's not a gruesome ACL or
no,
Achilles or anything like that. But I think we have to apply that to like this is
I
the
agree.
season where Lamar Jackson was hurt most of
Yeah.
the season.
I brought it up. I think that was 5, 6 weeks ago that I
Yeah, that was
brought
a
up
while
those
ago.
stats.
Yep.
Literally. And those were undeniable things when you looked at just what makes Lamar special, right? What makes Lamar Jackson the MVP version of himself? And yes, he's developed unbelievably as a passer, but we all know the dynamic part of his game is him being a threat all the time with his legs. And I think it's more than that. It's his confidence in himself is not there. And we've seen those moments in the postseason where you see him start to overpress and overpush in moments where he's trying too hard, right? It's like it's never whether he wants it or not. He literally will be hitting his head as he walks off to the sideline because he's upset with himself. But I think that's where I'm concerned with this in the long run, because if you're talking about Lamar Jackson, his health, this lingering problem, he already has all those question marks about him in the postseason and not being able to put it together. I hope that they do not let this become a thing and it lingers into next season, because him, Derrick Henry, the confidence, the body language, it's just all very not Ravens like. And I've held out as long as I could, but this is the Mark Andrews lateral was it for me. I was like, all right, this is it. I'm out. I don't got answers. I can't justify what's going on. And then the Derrick Henry fourth quarter thing and John Harbaugh's answer, I was like, all right, guys, I don't know what y'all are drinking over there in Baltimore, but we need to go back to whatever y'all were doing in the years prior.
Yep. I just don't want to let the Kansas City Chiefs off the hook
Oh, hell
from
no.
this capacity, right? Was that I get it, Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL, but that was week 15, right?
I
And
agree.
y'all were down in that game, fighting for your lives for playoff contention. So previous of Patrick Mahomes tearing his ACL, y'all were pretty much out of the playoffs. So I
They
don't
should have
want
done a
this.
better job with the roster. I mean,
Yeah, that's my point. Yep.
the running back room was never going to be a room that was going to win them a Super Bowl or get them there. I mean, they're
Yep.
28th and 30th in every rushing category. Look at every team that they had when they went to the Super Bowl. They always had an excellent running game. I just that was a failure of the offseason with the Chiefs. I think they were the failure of the offseason not preparing properly, and the Ravens have been a failure in season with what's been going on. So both teams are going to be a weird playoff year with no Lamar potentially. He's still got a sliver of a chance, but no Lamar, no Pat Mahomes. There's going to be some different cats that we're going to see in this postseason.